All right, will supporting Donald Trump sink the hopes of purple state Republicans? Back with me is the nation's Joan Walsh, radio host Hugh Hewitt, and pollster Fernand Amandi. All right, let's start with Wisconsin. And I'm going to go right to you on this, Hugh, because this was the never Trumpiest, never Trump state. Your buddy Charlie Sykes out there led a talk radio revolt against Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Does supporting Donald Trump, as Ron Johnson did, we've got a headline, Ron Johnson on Donald Trump, I fully intend to support our nominee. Does that hurt Ron Johnson, Hugh Hewitt?
No, I don't think it does. Ron Johnson in Wisconsin is basically independent of national political trends because Wisconsin is it's the warmed-over battleground of American politics. 4 statewide races in 5 years or 6 years, something like that. Every voter is ID'd. Every single person's intentions are known. It's a blocking and tackling operation there, and I don't think the national race will impact that one at all. Different over in Ohio, where it will help Robert Portman, but not in Wisconsin.
All right. You know what? And every time that we talk about ground game and whether races can be won or lost, I think of Wales. I think about Wales. Wales. Oh, look. A whale. That means we're talking about Pennsylvania. I'm going to come to you on this, Joan. Pat Toomey, don't you love our whale?
I love that whale.
It's adorable. So Pat Toomey is an interesting sort of case because he was Club for Growth.
Right.
He wins that improbable race because of the wave election in 2010.
Right.
But Republicans really do say every cycle that they're going to win Pennsylvania, and they don't. Pat Toomey is saying Trump comments on Judge deeply offensive, but he's still going to support him. Does that hurt Pat Toomey?
Of course it does. Of course it does. And Katie McKindy is a very strong candidate. Since she won the nomination, she's been up in a poll. The Democrats are going to put a lot of money here. That, like Wisconsin, the coordinated campaign is really focused on, yes, Hillary Clinton, but also they want to nationalize some of these races. And I think it'll really hurt Pat Toomey. Now, I disagree. I really disagree with you. I think Wisconsin is a dark blue state in presidential election years.
Yeah.
I think Ron Johnson's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, let's go to Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire, and I'll come to you on this, Fernand. Kelly Ayotte, she has said that she will vote for Trump despite his offensive remarks about the federal judge. She is in a really tough race, Fernand. She's right now in a statistical dead heat with Maggie Hassan. Is Ayotte's smart strategy to walk away from Donald Trump or to stick with him and hope that you get high Republican turnout, even though that's been a Democratic state in presidential years?
Well, Joy, as long as Donald Trump continues his Donald Troll act, I think you're going to see Kelly Ayotte have to succumb to the polls and to the political reality of the numbers, as you saw Mark Kirk do in Indiana, as I think you're going to see John McCain do in the state of Arizona. But yeah, Kelly Ayotte, by hitching her train to the Trump train in the Northeast, a state that, while has gone back and forth in recent cycles past, that's going to be a problem for her. I think she's going to drop that one soon, too.
Yeah, let's go to McCain. You mentioned John McCain. I want to let you guys listen to, this is John McCain on May 8th on CNN State of the Union talking about Trump and whether he'll support him. Take a listen.
Why are you ready to support Trump?
Well, I've said all along that I would support the nominee of the party. I believe that a Hillary Clinton presidency will cause the economy to continue to stumble along and put us in the economic malaise that basically we've had for 8 years.
Now, Hugh, this has got to be very difficult for John McCain, who's been one of the people who's made cultivating Hispanic voters sort of a hallmark of what he does in politics. But he now has to be on this line, right? Like, this is what he has to say. But is he vulnerable to a surge in potential Hispanic voting against Donald Trump that washes him out, too?
Well, Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick is as good as Arizona Democrats get, but she's not good enough to beat an American legend, an American hero, especially when you've got Governor Doug Ducey on the cover of National Review, #2 job growth in America. It's not going to work. They always try and put Arizona into play. Arizona is to the Democrats as Pennsylvania is to the Republicans.
Are you going to make us make our whale come back out again?
Yeah, that Arizona is the Democratic white whale. And Ann Kirkpatrick is a very good congresswoman, but she's not going to beat John McCain. That's laughable.
You know, when you put a radio host on your show, you risk them cueing your special effect, and he just did that. Let's go over to and let's talk about Ohio, Joan. Rob Portman this is a pivotal state. I mean, Republicans actually need this state. This is one of the states that they. This is always the state. This is what Rob Portman has had to say. Says he still will support Donald Trump's campaign despite the candidate's stance on economic issues, and based on his stance on economic issues, promise to create more jobs. Is jobs really the only place he can go? He can't really wrap his arms around Donald Trump.
No, he can't, and he is somebody who really you could see if Trump makes a few more really outrageous, obnoxious comments, who will step away from him, partly out of decency and partly out of political necessity. I really think that time can come. That time could come for a lot of these people we're talking about in the summer and early fall, Joy. It really can.
It really can. It's going to be difficult. I have to come to you while I have you here, Fernand Amandi, because when I think Florida, I think our friend Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
He's been in every kind of agony you can imagine during this entire campaign season. Mitch McConnell really wants him to run. There is a real fear among Washington Republicans about that seat. Let's take a listen to Marco Rubio once again saying that he will not run for his seat. Take a listen.
You're not going to rethink this and go back and file in April or May for this seat?
No, I'm not running for re-election to the Senate. As I said, I'm going to finish my term here, and then I'll be a private citizen.
Fernand, give us the benefit of your reporting on this. Are Republicans going to be able to convince Marco Rubio to come back, run for re-election, and try to save that seat for the GOP?
Well, I know for a fact that they are desperately trying both in public and in private, Joy. But here again, the telltale beating heart of the Trump University problem, because in that you saw Donald Trump basically go overboard with the Judge Curiel comments. That directly impacts Hispanic voters in a state like Florida. I think if Donald Trump were not at the top of the ticket, Marco Rubio would absolutely be running for re-election. But he can't risk destroying permanently his political future by running again and perhaps even losing here in Florida. So I don't think that that's going to happen. But I want to make one other quick point, because I love your white whale talk. I'm hearing, believe it or not, there's always one of these head fake states where one side or the other says they're going to play in. I think there may be an interesting one this cycle, and it's the state of Utah, the most Republican state in the country. I am hearing that the Democrats, because of the comments by Mitt Romney and others, and also a very Mormon state, looking at a guy like Donald Trump, saying that might be a state that if we play in, we might be able to steal. And I don't have to tell you, if Utah is at risk, it may be all 50 states at risk for the Republicans.
Well, you know, in addition to all the other things you do, radio host as well as a pollster, you know as well as anybody else, Fernand, that the single biggest indication of anti-Trump sentiment, Mormonism. Mormons were the most anti-Trump of any other group. So I think that you two have triggered the whale. I think we got to get the whale going across again, Murray. Can we get it? Can we get it one more time? When you invite two radio hosts on your show, this is the kind of thing that happens, folks. All right, Joan and Hugh will be back later in the show. Thank you very much, my friend Fernand Amandi. Appreciate it.